Hi guys, welcome back to session 57 of Java Full Stack Made Easy. In this session, we will talk about pipes, the built-in pipes and the custom pipes in Angular. And in the previous session, we spoke about the input and the output decorator that was used for the communication between the components, the parent and child components. So here we will be talking about the pipes that actually transform the data without affecting the TypeScript data. So let us understand what exactly a pipe is all about and where can we make use of the pipes. So if you remember, this was something that I have done in my previous session where I was actually adding a student in the child component, and that was being added over here in the parent component by using an output decorator. So that was my last example. So let's go ahead and understand a few more new things over here. So I have a TypeScript, and here in the TypeScript what I would like to actually do is that I'll just write it as pipes demo here, and I'll create a variable and I'll call it as a name. Okay, and the name is Virat Kohli. Fine. So as of now, just consider that this particular name is coming up from the database or maybe an API or something, and I want to represent that name over here into my HTML. Fine. So let's call it as pipes here, and I want to represent that name. Okay. So when I represent this name over here, if you look at the result of this, you can see the name is being represented. That looks good. But the thing is that I want to display it in uppercase. So if I want to display it in uppercase, I have to change it here, right? So I have to change it here. But the requirement is that I should not be changing the TypeScript. I want to display it to the end user in capital case, but the actual data should be there in small case itself, right? So what needs to be done in such cases? So this is where the pipes comes into picture, that actually transforms only the template data, not the actual data. So there is a built-in pipe available for us called as the uh, uppercase pipe. Fine. So that will convert your name into an uppercase, and after that also, if you see how the name looks like, the name will actually be in the small case itself. So you can see that the actual name will remain as it is, even though I have transformed it into uppercase, but still it's not changed. So if you look at the result, so Virat Kohli is converted into capital case, but it is only temporary. That means it is only for that particular template, and the actual data remains as it is. So that is the magic of using the pipes. It does not change the actual data but transforms the data for you. Now the next point is that, like we have this uppercase pipe, we also have other type of pipes as well. Like for example, let's take money as 10, and if suppose I display this money over here, like what, let's go ahead and display money. Now when I'm displaying this, let's save it. Let's save all, in fact the previous TypeScript as well. So when I display it, it is displaying it as 10 rupees. Sorry, it is displaying it as 10. So as an Indian, I would like to call it as 10 rupees if it is a money. But if you're in the United States, at that time you'll call it as $10, right? So if you're in Europe, you'll call it as 10 euros or something. So how are we going to represent it as a money? And also there might be a chance where I want to add to money, or maybe advance given and the balance and the total, those things needs to be calculated. If it has to be calculated, we should not add up the currency symbol to it, else it will become a string, right? So I want to keep it a number, but I want to represent it as a money, right? So this is, again, there is a scenario where we are going to consider this numeric variable as money. So we will be using a pipe there that is called as currency pipe. Fine. So let's just save it and see how it looks like. So when I take this as currency, so you can see that 10 is represented as $10, but you don't want to represent it as a dollar. You might want to represent it as rupees or something, right? So in that case, what needs to be done? The pipes comes up with the arguments as well. So while pipes are created, it doesn't take only the value, it also takes up, this is the value on which I am applying the pipe. So this is the pipe, and the pipe can take arguments as well. So let us pass in an argument to this. So if I want to represent it as rupees, then I can simply go for an code for that, that is INR. So if INR is passed, so it will be represented as rupees. Similarly, you can represent it as anything. If you want to represent it as euros or GBP or anything, fine. So you write it as EUR, so it will be represented as euros. So that way your built-in pipes work. Similarly, like I have taken these two pipes, I can also deal with the date stuff and work with the date type of pipes. So let's take one such example here. So if suppose I have a date object which is equal to what, new date suppose. So now that I have a date object, I want to display that date to my customer. So let's just break it and display now. So when I'm displaying this now, so it displays me whatever is there in that object now, so which is the current date. So when I go here, you can notice that it is displaying me the date like this. So it is displaying me the day, month, and then date, then year, and then the hours, minutes, seconds, then the locally, right, GMT, that is the time zone, and then it also shows me that it is an Indian standard time. So but I don't want to display all that to my customer. So in that case, what needs to be done? So what I can do is I can simply make use of the date pipe. So I'll just write it as date and save it, and then you can notice that it is displaying me the date as October 19, 2025. But there might be requirement to me where I would actually like to display this maybe in a specific format or something. So in that case, what needs to be done? So if I want to display it in specific format, obviously the date also comes up with argument where we can provide in the format. So whichever format you like, you can display it in that particular format. Suppose I want it in dd hyphen mm hyphen yyyy format. So it will be displaying me in that particular format. So you can see that it is displaying me in dd mm yyyy format. Also, one important thing that you have to notice that, so I'm writing all this dd and yy in small case, whereas is written in capital case. If I make it in small case, you will see that it is 1908 2025. So what is that 08? In fact, it is actually the minute. Now it is 09. So if I refresh my page, so it will come up as 09. Okay, so small case actually represents a month, not the sorry, it represents the minute, not the month. So obviously all the time you ensure that you write month in capital case. So this is how we can make use of the built-in pipes that are available into Angular. So there are more built-in pipes available. I encourage you to just look for the built-in pipes in Angular from Angular IO. So I will first share this with you, which is the demo one built-in pipes, which is again in my app.typescript, and then the app.html. So by now you might have understood that the pipes actually transform the data without affecting the actual data, right? So let's go ahead and get the app.html as well. And pipes can take arguments as well. So there can be a need where we have to create our own pipes. So let us first understand how do we create the pipes, and then we can talk about how are we going to create the like in what scenarios, what situations we are going to create the pipes. Fine. So in the first example, what I'm going to do is I will be creating a pipe that actually looks like what, maybe a uppercase pipe itself. So I want to do that, or maybe in the first case I just like to create a pipe and see how things work there. Fine. So one important thing that we have to note here is that I'm using the latest version of Angular, but if you remember in the first uh, demo, what I actually did was I created Angular not a standalone component, right? So I did not create all the components as standalone components, right? So I'm using an older way where I am adding everything into the app.module.typescript. So if you look at the app.module.typescript, here I've actually added all this app menu address and add students. Since they are not standalone components, they can directly be added over here. So for the pipe also, I have to consider this in my mind, that this is what I have used. Or else if it is in a normal case, if it is a non standalone stuff and all that, so it can directly be imported into your TypeScript app.typescript itself. Standalone components allows you to perform an import. So if it is a standalone component, you can pass this imports, and then you can take the pipe directly here. But because I'm using because I'm saying that this component is not a standalone component, I cannot include imports over here. Fine. So as of now, I will just show you the way how I am doing it. Okay. So let's go ahead and understand how can we create a custom pipe. So I'll go to the src, and I'll just go ahead and create a pipe here. So a pipe can be created by using an ng generate pipe, ng g p ng generate pipe, or you can write it as ng generate pipe completely, or ng g pipe can also be written, and you can create a pipe that way. Or if you want to just create a file and then decorate the file with the pipe decorator and all, even that is fine. So I will go with the difficult way first. After that, while we are creating pipes, we can go for the ng generate pipe for that. Fine. So I'll create a new file here in the src, and I will call it as any pipe of my choice. Let's call it as my custom dot pipe dot typescript. So since it is a pipe, I'm marking it as a pipe, so it will be easy for me to later identify that it is a pipe. So for creating pipes, you have to keep few things in your mind, that a pipe decorator will be used. This is one important thing, because while creating a component, we decorated it with a component. So likewise, while creating a pipe, we will decorate it with a pipe. If it is a service, we will decorate it with a injectable, so that it gives a special meaning to the class. So I'm creating a pipe, I use the pipe decorator. Similarly, after using the pipe decorator, the class needs to implement pipe transform. So this is the interface that we are going to implement, the pipe transform. This pipe transform contains a transform function. So these are the important things that we are going to make use of. A pipe needs to be created by decorating the class with the pipe decorator, and then it needs to implement the pipe transform, and has to override the transform function. So these are the main basic requirements for creating a pipe. So once that is done, let's go ahead and create a pipe. So I'll just create a export class, and then I will give some class name to this. Let's call it as my pipe, and this is just a class, right? So it has to implement what? The pipe transform. So we'll say implements pipe transform. So this will be implemented, and since it is implementing a pipe transform, so a transform function has to be written. So that's what is written here, and then it has to be decorated with a pipe decorator. Okay. So I'm decorating it with the pipe decorator. Everything comes from the Angular core itself. So you can see that in the imports, everything is coming from Angular core. Now this pipe needs to be given a name, right? So let's give a name to this particular pipe. So what's the name of this pipe? The name of this pipe, as of now, let's just call it as test. Okay, so this is a test pipe that I'm creating, and what it does, this pipe, if it is applied to something, so just return the value, plus also return let's say hello from pipe. Okay, so it's returning the value on whatever it is applied to, and after that it is appending hello from pipe. Okay, so a pipe is created, everything is done. So we are done creating the pipe actually. Okay, so after we are done creating the pipe, like we are using the old way, we have to get this into the uh, app.module.typescript, right? So first of all, if I try to add it in the app.module.typescript like this, the components, so let's add the my pipe here. The moment I add this my pipe here, so it will tell me that it's not a standalone stuff and all that, right? So you can see it here. So my pipe is standalone and cannot be declared in the ng module. So did you mean to import it? So it is by default created as a standalone pipe. So it should not be a standalone stuff here, right? So it should not be a standalone. So what I have to actually do is I have to go to the custom pipe, and then I have to mark this as this is not going to be a standalone. So I'm going to mark it as standalone false. Okay, now that I have marked it as standalone false, what needs to be done again? So once the standalone is declared as false, what I should be doing is I should actually be importing it as let me just try that and implement it again into the app.module.typescript and see the problem there. Now when I go to the app.module.typescript, and if I try to get the my pipe now, let's see. So my pipe is standalone, cannot be declared. Did you mean to import it instead, right? So now it says everything is fine. So it's loaded and everything is done. So my pipe and everything. So let's just save it and let's now try and use this pipe inside the app.html. So let me go here in the app.html. Once again, let's go for the br, and then now I'll have the name and then apply the pipe that I have created. The pipe name is test pipe, right? So that's what the name I have given to the pipe. So let's go here. Yeah, test pipe is the name that I have given. So let's save it and see whether the pipe is now applied or not. So I'll go to the TypeScript. So here it says I have created as Virat Kohli, and then it says hello from pipe. So this way you create a very simple custom pipe in Angular. So what we have done is we have simply created a class, annotated the class with the pipe decorator, right? Given the name to that, and then called the pipe as not a standalone stuff, because we wanted to include that into the app.module.typescript. That's why we are calling it as standalone false, right? And then we have implemented the pipe transform, and finally we have included the transform function. So what this pipe is doing is that it is returning the value and then hello from pipe. So let's give a space here and save it, and you will notice that the value I have applied it on Virat Kohli, and then hello from pipe. This is something which is being returned to us. So whatever we want to return, that can be returned. Let's say for example I want to return anything here. Okay, so let's save it and then go and check what is the detail. So you can see that it just gives me anything here. So that way our pipes can be created. So now that we know how to create a pipe, let's we will create a more meaningful pipe and understand how things work there. So before I move ahead, I will give you what all things I have done here. So very first thing is that I'll give you the custom pipe. Okay, so let's call this as demo2. Demo1 is done. I have to, did I commit it? Yes, maybe. Alright, so let's add up a new file and then let's call it as demo2 my first custom pipe. So I created the custom pipe, and for that click on src and create a file called my custom. I created it as my custom pipe, my custom dot pipe dot typescript, right? So this is what we have done. And after that what we did for the custom pipe is we created the pipe, and then once the pipe is created we need to ensure yeah, then that's done. After that, okay, let's just do that. So this is the file which is my custom dot pipe dot typescript. So this is the file, right, which is my custom pipe dot typescript I have created. And then after creating the pipe, ensure it is added in the app.module.typescript. So we have to add it inside the app.module.typescript. So this is my app.module.typescript. So I've added this my pipe inside the app.module.typescript. So I've given a different name to the file, different name to the pipe, and different name to the class, so that you understand what needs to be used where. So here a class is used, right? And for imports here the file name is used, and in the template it will be the pipe name that will be used. So after that you just go for the app.html where I'm using the pipe. Okay, I'll also give you the app.typescript for this, which contains just the name app.typescript. So that's how we create the pipes. So let's enhance this pipe that I have created to make it look like the uppercase pipe. Okay, let's call it as my uppercase pipe. So everything is created. I'll just go to the my custom pipe, and here what I'm gonna do is, so whatever value you are accepting here, whatever value is given, so what you do is when this value is given, you convert this value into uppercase. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is return value dot to uppercase. So that what has to be done. Let's save it, and now let's see. They can see that the value Virat Kohli is now converted into uppercase by applying our pipe. So you can see that the app.html. So this is the result of custom pipe. So let's write that here so that it will be easy for you to understand that it is the result of the custom pipe. Result of custom pipe below. Let's save it, and there you go. So the result of the custom pipe is this. So we have just converted the pipe, that is Virat Kohli, into uppercase. Now I will create this custom pipe in a way where a user should be able to provide us an argument, and based on the argument provided we will convert this either into an uppercase or a lowercase. Let the user give us either a capital U or a small u, and based on that we will convert it into either uppercase or a lowercase character. So the argument will be given by the user. So let's go ahead and see how do we do that. So here we already have the argument. So whatever arguments are being given, the first argument will definitely be in the arguments of 0, right? So there can be multiple arguments given to the pipe. So if you remember, as for now, like we have taken only one argument, so there can be multiple arguments given to the pipe as well. So if argument, whatever arguments are passed, then based on that we are going to do this. So suppose what we are going to do is, if the arguments, that is args arguments length is greater than 0, then do this. Okay, the arguments dot length, right? So if it is more than 0, then do this. Okay, and if not, then simply return this. If the arguments length is not this, that means if the arguments are not passed, return it by default in uppercase, or else return it as it is. So if I want to return it as it is, then I can give it like this, or else user can decide whether he wants it into a capital case or a small case character. So now we will say, if the argument, that is arguments of 0, if it is passed as u, okay, dot to upper case. So if a user is giving us this u, okay, sorry, it should be equal to u. So now why am I like not writing arguments of 0 equal to u directly? Why am I converting it into uppercase? The reason for that is, user might be able to provide the argument in capital or small case. Fine. So if that is the case, then what we will do is, we will say, if that happens, then the value will be equal to what? Value a dot to uppercase. So value will be converted into uppercase, and if else if it is L, that is lowercase, then convert into to lower. So you might see that I'm not changing the to uppercase here. The reason for that, I told you, this is because I want the user to either give the argument in the capital case or the small case. So based on that, I'm gonna return it. So yeah, value, I'm just gonna return this. Return to lowercase. So let's just save it and see how the pipe looks like. So result of custom pipe is below. So if that is there, return just the value is what I have given. So what is happening here? Looks good, but I'm not getting the result of the custom pipe. So let us see what is the problem there. If the arguments dot length is greater than 0, then it happens, else it should come here and return the value, right? So yeah, let's come down here. Test pipe is something that I'm using, so everything looks good. Result of the custom pipe, yeah, no arguments are pass, right? So if the argument is not passed, then there is a problem. That is, the length will not be coming up, right? Let's just do a console log and check whether the problem is with the length. Console log length of what arguments. Let's save it and see the result. So that might be throwing us an error because of that. Yes, cannot read undefined reading to uppercase of what? Property of undefined reading to uppercase. That's fine. At TypeScript 13, so it is arguments of 0 dot to uppercase equal to 0. Okay, that's fine. So the arguments length is 0. If arguments dot length is greater than 0 is what we are saying. So as of now arguments length is 0, so it has to just come down here, that is return the value. If it is greater than 0, then only it has to come here, right? So arguments of 0 dot to uppercase, so that looks fine, but it is coming up here and then throwing us an error there, right? So why is this cannot read? It should not read it at all. It should not come down to this if in case the arguments are not passed, right? Or else what we will do is, yeah, we will simply say an else condition here so that it directly comes here. Let's save it. Cannot read property undefined. Once again the same thing. So if argument length is greater than 0, do this. Let's have an if args dot length equal to 0. Let's do a return value as it is. Yeah, so that will stop the function here itself. Return if it is greater than 0, then it will come down here and then check for that if. So it is just returning Virat Kohli because there is no argument passed in here, right? Now I will pass in the argument to my custom pipe that I have created. Let us say that the argument is u, which is uppercase. So let's save it and see the result. Now you can see that Virat Kohli is in uppercase. Similarly, now if I give it as L, it will be in lowercase. You'll see that. And now if you remember, I told you that why am I taking this, right? My custom pipe, why am I taking this to uppercase equal to u? This is because of this. The user actually can give me things like this as well. For uppercase, user might even give me capital U. So irrespective whether the user gives me capital U or small u, what happens is this will be taken, this u, the argument will be taken, and that argument will be converted into uppercase and it will be compared with uppercase. So it will be equal. So whatever user gives, whether he gives the small case u or capital case U, I will get the result for this. So this way we can create our custom pipes, and in the next session we will create a more meaningful custom pipe. I hope you have understood what is the purpose of creating custom pipes, where are we going to make use of custom pipes, and in the next session we will be creating a more realistic custom pipe. Fine. So this is demo 3. Let's call it as custom pipe 2. So in this case, once again, this is my pipe file, so which is what is it, my custom dot pipe dot type. and then the app dot module in the previous case itself I have given you, so I'll not be giving that. App dot typescript also I have already given you, and just take the app.html. So these are the only two files that I have modified in this example. Okay. All right, so see you in the next session. Thanks for your patience. Do subscribe to my channel and also like, share and comment. Thank you.